a tragic story of a truck driver who spent more than a third of her driving time using her phone in the 2 hours she was driving before she caused a fatal crash, and she's been sent to prison. Her name is Sarah Schmidt. She left her home in Dannevirke in the wee hours of the morning. It was about 5:38 on the day she killed Caleb Baker. Through her entire journey, she reached for her phone at least 11 times. Now, they know this because they have dash cam and they record it for such things like this. So she's 24. At the time, she'd been behind the wheel of trucks since she was 19. So she knows what she was doing with driving, but she could not keep off the phone and spent a total of 44 minutes using her phone, 38% of her time. And sadly, it did end when she ploughed into the back of two vehicles that were stationary. They were waiting in a stop queue. And the 2 seconds before the impact, she looked up, and at that time she was doing 86 kilometres per hour, or nearly covering 24 metres per second. She tried to react to apply the brakes, but of course too late. At the point of impact, her 30-tonne truck was still moving at 76 kilometres an hour. She received a 2-year, 4-month prison sentence and disqualified from driving for 3 years. Now, sadly, this is not an isolated story. Yes, circumstances are different in these crashes, but what is a common thread in every one of these tragedies is the driver distracted by their phone. Now, very quickly, I'll take you back to 2021 when then Transport Minister Michael Wood announced the fine for using your phone while driving would go from $80 up to $150, as well as 20 demerit points. He said, increasing the infringement fee to $150, this is our way of saying Kiwis need to take this seriously and put away their phones while driving. Well, how has that worked out for us, and how serious have we taken it? The majority of us don't. Clive Matthew Wilson is a road safety advocate. It's good to welcome him back onto the show. Clive, good afternoon.
G'day, Leah. These are absolutely predictable, and really the government sends out, raises fines and sends out these, press releases, please drive safely. As we know, asking people to drive safely is an expensive waste of time. What there needs to be is simply, first offence, you lose the cell phone. Second offence, you lose the cell phone and the number, right, which is your entire life, basically. Yeah. Third offence, you lose the cell phone, the number, and the vehicle for 7 days. Right? Yeah. No nonsense, really simple, very easy to enforce. The police drive past people using cell phones all day, every day, and they do very, very little about it, partly because they're often on the way to, preventing a murder or something. So that's not an inherent criticism, but the fact of the matter is, you go into any place in Auckland where I live and just stand there at the side of the road and watch the people driving by using phones. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And it's like nobody's doing anything about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Clive, is there anywhere in the world that has taken it seriously? Do you know of any country that actually has taken this seriously? Is there anyone?
Really? People just accept it as like that's the way it is these days. And let me just get in before anybody says yes, but you can operate your cell phone by voice. That's distracting. According to the American something or other, I'll come back up with that in a minute, American National Safety Council, they reckon that over a quarter of all traffic crashes now involve drivers using cell phones. Right? Wow. That's how big a deal it is, right? Yeah. And remember, in the 1960s, it was just considered like cars are incredible and, you can get in and drive anywhere at any time. And, okay, we're getting thousands of people killed, but that's just like, byproduct, collateral damage. Sorry about that. Drive safely. And the point is that later on, of course, we've realised there's, cause and there's effect. And the fact of the matter is that the purpose of driving is to drive, right? And if you are calling your mum, very innocent, but the fact of the matter is you go, Siri, call mum. It's a voice command, or you reach across and press dial, for mum. The fact of the matter is you're taking your eyes off the road.
Yeah.
And that's what kills people. There's very low estimates of the amount of driving accidents in New Zealand that are caused by distraction, but I suspect that's just because they're not catching them. What the Americans did is they set up a bunch of people driving for weeks or months, and they were openly monitoring the people who'd forgotten they were being monitored, and they were utterly shocked at the way in which people casually broke the law and risked their lives and the lives of that kid that just ran out on the road.
Clive, if the government isn't going to take it seriously enough, and we can't be trusted, do we have to rely maybe on technology? I.e., and you would know more than I know about this, obviously, but I'd heard that some manufacturers, I think Mercedes, were putting things in their cars so that if they see you distracted, an alarm would sound if you pick up a phone, if you yawn, if you look away. Is that something we're going to have to do?
Well, first of all that technology is horribly complicated and prone to serious problems. That's number one. So by the time that Mercedes, becomes available to ordinary drivers, it probably won't be operating properly. Right. And it's like the government-sponsored Teslas. Would I own one? No.
No.
And the government spent, $500 million on what was effectively a sponsorship of Tesla on behalf of the wealthy people who were going to buy Teslas anyway. Right?
Yeah.
Just sorry to come back to the point. There is technology that would have prevented that crash that we were just talking about, which is autonomous automatic braking. So in other words, the computer is constantly scanning the road ahead, and it goes, hang on, I'm going 84, and the driver is not slowing down at all. There's a large object ahead. I'm going to apply the brakes. And some of them can steer around obstacles as well. That's here and now technology on a large percentage of new cars. So, that's good, right? But it doesn't it doesn't stop somebody else falling asleep at the wheel and crossing the centre barrier and going into you, if you see what I mean. But it's a hell of a lot better than nothing. But, I have to say, why are we accepting these incredibly high levels of distraction as normal?